Welcome back to Tampa Bay Right Now. We've been talking about domestic and sexual violence in the Tampa Bay area. Joining us now is Nicole Kaysen, lead advocate for sexual assault services at the Crisis Center. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you.
So tell me what it is that you do at the Crisis Center.
I'm a victim advocate, and what that means is my primary role is to be there for the survivor and support them through this whole process. Try to help them navigate the system, be it the legal system, just support with their family, and trying to help them figure out what their most basic needs are, and link them really to the resources that are available to them in the community, whether it's with our own agency at the Crisis Center as well as to outside agencies as well.
I know we were talking last night, you were out on call till late at night with someone, so you're just kind of on call. They call you and they say, listen, we have a need, we have someone who needs you, and you go help, yes?
Yes, our services are 24/7, so we take cases all hours of the day, 365 days a year. We will not turn anybody away who is seeking services.
That's fantastic. And so you're there in what kind of way? Just to, like you said, lead them through the what happens next, step by step. And would you say that your crisis center is where people should go first if they've been abused?
If they've been assaulted, and yes, they should call 211. 211 will then link them to the appropriate resources, get them to the Crisis Center for that forensic exam and those support services as well. We see ages 13 and up, and with or without a police report. So it doesn't have to be reported for them to be able to receive services at the Crisis Center. And
would you kind of help them navigate whether or not maybe they should report this or not?
We will. If we will educate them on their options of what they would like to do, whether it's going the route of reporting to law enforcement or not. We do hold the evidence for a year, so it gives them quite a large time to make that decision, but then being able to be there with them and making that decision.
And Leslie, why do you think people are so afraid to report sometimes? What is the fear that's involved with that?
A lot of it's fear of reprisal, being judged, because we do blame the victim in our society, and it's almost like the old scarlet letter that you're wearing on your chest if you do report that you've been raped or sexually assaulted. In some cultures, if you do report, then you will be shunned and you will not be a part of the family anymore because you've dared to involve somebody from the outside in with your family. It's just not something that's often encouraged, and that's why there's a lot of hesitation. Only 29% of cases report right now.
Wow.
Will actually
follow
through.
And it's still such a high number, too.
Yes.
That's crazy. So, and I know we were talking earlier that most of these cases are with people that know each other. So is that one of the reasons, too? You know, this is someone that maybe I've known for 15 years, now I've been assaulted, and you have all these feelings of, I don't want to sell them out, or maybe I did something wrong and it wasn't them. Do you see that a lot?
Yeah, we see the victim blaming quite often, whether it's them blaming themselves for what happened or the community blaming themselves. I think it's really something more of a protective factor for a lot of people. Well, if they did this, then I can keep myself safe by not doing that.
Right. And I think some of the fear, too, is the retaliation of the attacker. Is that true as well? Like maybe they've said something like, if you tell, especially for younger kids, maybe the 13, if we're talking, you take people as young as 13, you know, maybe it's, if you tell someone, I'll hurt you, I'll hurt your family. Do you see that a lot?
We see that, even if the threats are not direct, implied, you know, direct threats, it's still that implied threat there that something could happen, that they're worried about their family. And then they're also worried about not having those supports in place. If they told their family, well, are they going to be mad at me? Am I still going to have them there for me?
Are they going to believe me? Because that's the other big one. A lot of families just don't believe that it could happen. Not in my family, not my kid. What did you do to make that happen? And the law changed just a month ago. The Office of Violence Against Women was really trying to fight it both, you know, state and federal level, where the perpetrators of the alleged crime can now see the police report, which means that victim's name and all of their demographic information is on that sheet of paper, and now that perpetrator can now look at that report.
Really?
And that's just been about a month, hasn't it? That law passed.
Wow. And so the 211 that we're talking about, I know this is new to me. I had no idea about 211. I always hear 911. If you're in, you know, you need help, you do 911. So this is, I think, a really important thing to emphasize, is that if you've been a victim of domestic or sexual violence, that you can call 211.
Absolutely.
And where does that immediately put you? If I dial that number, who's going to pick up?
Someone at the crisis center. It takes you directly to the crisis center. So one of the crisis center staff will answer that phone call and then link you to the appropriate services.
And I know you said you start as young as 13. So those 13 to 18-year-olds, are they allowed to call without a parent being present? And do you speak with them, or is it a little bit more?
16 and up, we can see without parental consent. 13 to 15, it has to be reported to law enforcement, and we have to have a parental consent.
Okay. And what's your website that people can go to and find out some more information about that?
www.crisiscenter.com.
Okay, perfect. So, and it's important to say, too, I was researching about this, that it's not just sexual domestic violence. People think, you know, pretty tragic events that happen. It can also be stalking or threatening behavior, verbal abuse. Is this correct? And so some people may not think, oh, but, well, they're just scaring me. But those are really the first steps. Am I correct?
Yes.
They are. Imagine you're in a room of people at any given time. Close your eyes for just a second and open them back up and just look around the room of how many people have been touched by violence in our community, and we say we have loving families. We wonder why we don't get along in organizations. First, we have to learn how to respect each other and get along in our families and communities. 1 in 12 women have experienced stalking.
Wow.
That report it.
Right.
You know, that's where these statistics come from. And there's a great dating site for teenagers and for adults you can look at. There's dating pledges that can be taken. It's called Break the Cycle.
Oh, great. So
and
there's
that's
a lot of resources
site.
out
it's
there.
It's a huge resource.
And we'll talk a little bit more about those in just a moment. Coming up next, we will talk more about women's issues and solutions. Don't go away.